All right, I think we're live. Hi, hello everyone. This is James and Katie. Um, Welcome to our webinar, Get Students from China in 2023. So before we get started, please let us know in the comments where you're tuning in right now, and introduce yourself to our network. Okay, and also please help us. Let us know if you are seeing us and watching us okay, and listening, hearing us okay, because we're broadcasting the live session to multiple platforms right now on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We want to make sure everyone can see us and hear us okay. And we don't have any technical problems here. So I've seen some comments from YouTube right now. Yeah, so if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. I have Ginia from YouTube, tuning from okay, Winford International Online School, tuning from Vietnam. Julie from France. Bonjour. All clear. That's good. That's good. From LinkedIn. From Facebook, Maria. Hello from Italy. Darren. We can see you fine. Hear you fine. Okay, that's from Facebook. It seems like we don't have any technical problems. It's great. Chris, Facebook cheers, everything's good. Constance joining you from NYC. Hello. Kathleen from Boston. Hey, all tech is fine. KD from Orlando, Florida. So far, can hear you fine watching from YouTube. Hey, thank you for that. Virginia from Spain. Hello. Hanifa, Afghanistan. Hello, hello. Helen, Spain. Okay, cool. Chris from Madrid. Oh, we have so many people watching already. Okay, great. I can't wait to get started. I'm hosting this with Kitty. Probably some of you don't know me or don't know Kitty. We have some slides to introduce ourselves, but today our topic is get students from China in 2023. So I wanted to share one thing before we get started. So probably most of you guys know I'm Chinese, but for some reason I haven't been focusing on the China market for the past 4 years since I started business. And I remember when I first started the business in 2019, I got people talk to me, hey, James, help me get into the China market. Help me get into China market. I was like, you know what? It's just not my focus at the time because I was trying to build a business, starting from scratch, doing a lot of different things. And now uh, our business is doing great. I have a team that taking care of a lot of things. Finally, have time and energy to look into the China market to help you guys. The China market is very different. There's no synergies, between other market and China market. It's everything I have to like have a separate thing for it. And luckily, we are collaborating with a bridge, Katie, and I feel like we're gonna have a lot more to offer in 2023, and today just the beginning. I want to kind of make an introduction of the market, give you guys some lot of basics to start with, and more importantly, give you guys more confidence in the market. There's a lot of potential there, and Kitty gonna share some results and talk about it. I will talk about it too. So it's a great market, but it has a lot of challenges. And I think why we are here is to help you overcome these challenges and find a way that works for you to get students from China in 2023. Okay, so that's all from me to begin with. And if you enjoy this topic, you like what we have shared so far, please click on the like button to help us promote these live sessions. So more people on the platforms can see us and hear us and also contribute to this conversation. Okay, and in the meantime, while we're talking, speaking, we have some slides prepared for you guys. Don't hesitate to leave comments, ask questions. We will leave some time at the end to get back to you and answer these questions. Okay. So yeah, we got a lot more from Brazil, Ukraine. Wow, there's a lot of people. Thank you for showing up and joining us. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn to Katie. Katie prepare some slides, and also Katie gonna introduce herself, and we're gonna start from there. Hey, Katie.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Can you just all hear me okay? It's all good.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Excellent. Great. So hi, my name's Katie. And today we're going to be talking about how to grow your online teaching business in China in 2023. So as James said, we're going to do a quick intro, and then there's lots to get through today. So I'm going to be looking at slides quite a lot because I find like it's quite helpful to have a visual prompt on the screen for you guys to have a look at. But if anyone's got any questions, please put them in the comments as we go along, because it's really helpful to make this more engaging, interactive. I don't want it to feel like a lecture. And obviously me and James are going to be discussing stuff as we go along. So yeah, my name's Katie. Some of you might be familiar with me in some Facebook groups. So I'm the director of Abridge Academy, which offers like teaching curriculum and courses and resources and stuff for online teachers. So I've been teaching online since 2013. I'm also a qualified classroom teacher, and I previously lived, studied, and taught in China before, so got quite a good understanding of the Chinese market as well. I studied at Shanghai Jiao Tong University, a micro MBA program, and I also co-founded a Chinese ESL startup nearly 3 years ago now, in 2020. Right now, I'm currently a classroom teacher here in Japan. I also teach online. I sell curriculum, I sell courses, I do a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that's a very quick intro to me. Like I see, we've got loads of cool people joining us from all around the world, which is fantastic. James, you want to do a very quick intro to yourself as well, because I know I've got a few people kind of from my end who might not be so familiar with what you offer.
Absolutely, Katie. Thanks for that. So yeah, my name is James. James Sulu. I'm the CEO and founder of the BillyBilly strategy. Currently focused on helping teachers, mostly ESL teachers, start and grow their business. Eventually build a six-figure niche teaching business. And one of the things people remember me for is I always say, hey, you can charge over $100 an hour teaching English online. And believe me, many people didn't believe me at first, but no, it's happening. So many people in our community are charging $100 an hour, even more than that. So it's not about what you do, it's really about how you do it. So that's important. If you're interested in this, definitely follow me. I have shared a lot of tips and strategies on my social media. And if you want to take action, you can always join our coaching programs as well. So I was so about my background. I grew up in China, left China about 15 years ago, and came to the States for my graduate study. I did my postdoc. I did my PhD, MBA, and also did my postdoc. And after my postdoc, I transitioned to management consulting. That's where I help corporates with marketing, sales, pricing. So I didn't see myself as an expert at that time, but right now, after working with so many teachers in the marketing sales area, we do have a lot to offer when it comes to marketing and sales. Yep. So this is really about me, and if you are interested in what we do, definitely follow us, and hopefully we can work together one day.
Cool, fantastic. Yeah, so I was gonna power on through some of the slides here. And first thing I want to kind of talk a bit about is why you should be focusing on the Chinese market going into 2023. So I know a lot of people are familiar or might have been taught on Chinese teaching platforms previously, like VIP Kid. I used to teach with Powfish a while back. There's Dada ABC, I can't remember what they're all called now. There's a whole bunch of those Chinese platforms previously. A lot of online ESL teachers will be familiar with, and a lot of those shut down a year and a half ago with the new education regulations that got launched in China. So you might be thinking, okay, now it's a couple of years since then. Why are we thinking about the Chinese market? And I still think there's a huge potential in the Chinese market going into 2023. So we've talked about those ESL companies that closed a year and a half ago. There's still a huge gap left in the market from the closure of those companies. So there's a huge potential for independent teachers to get students from China, because you're not a Chinese ESL company, and you're able to take students from China and teach them online yourself. And obviously, you know, as both me and James probably agree, that going independent and teaching students on your own basis, not through a company, you're able to charge much higher rates and things too. So there's this huge gap that's been left behind in the market, which you're there to fill. And also China, compared to other countries, has a very high number of high income earners who've got quite increasing ability to spend money on these kind of classes. And that's not just in what are called the first tier cities in China, like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, like the big financial cities, but also a lot of second and third tier cities are kind of up and coming with increasing spending power and less access to local English classes. So there's a lot of potential there for you to attract to that market with your online classes. So there's a huge potential. And you can actually see, if we look at the stats from the last, this is actually pre-2020, but if we look at the pre-2020 stats, there's been a very steady increase in the market size in China, like rapidly increasing. And even though that has changed a lot with 2020 with coronavirus, and of course with the new regulations that came out in 2021, that demand is still there. In fact, if anything, that demand is probably even higher. And yeah, I think in general, in China, I've noticed a lot of students and a lot of parents put a huge value on education. So they're willing to spend money on their kids' education, or if they're adults, they're willing to invest in their own education, because there is a huge value put on learning within China. And of course, as you're aware, coronavirus is still a thing, particularly in China. They've actually, just this past week or two, they've eased restrictions a lot, but that's led to a big boom now in coronavirus cases in China. So there's still a lot of focus on online learning related to the coronavirus pandemic, even though in other markets that's since sort of calmed down as in-person things have opened up again. So I think there's still a huge potential about 2023. James, what are you thinking in terms of the Chinese market in the next year?
Yeah, so this is definitely a very good summary of the market. I just want to quickly comment on these bullet points. So the number one, a lot of people might question, okay, there's like a new policies that released last year, double reduction, how they affect. So there are a lot of challenges. That's kind of what I said at first, right? There are a lot of challenges when it comes to Chinese market. But the only thing you need to remember or you need to know is many teachers are getting students, both children and adult students from China. That's all you need to know. Okay, if others can do it, you can do it. So don't question, okay, the policy, there are always workarounds and there are things you can do, right, to follow the laws but still can make it work, right? And we are not going to get into the discussion of the policy and how this works. Just want to tell you, the number one bullet point: when this company is gone, there's huge gap. Okay, huge gap. And if you find a way, it's actually going to be much easier to get clients because the students are waiting for you to get access to them, right? So the number one. Number two, yeah, I grew up in tier 5 city. Tier 5 city. I'm not even like second and third tier cities in China. Tier 5. I can tell you how much parents are willing to spend on education. And my sister has two sons, my two nephews, 3 years old and 7 years old, and over at least half of the family income go into education for the two sons. Okay, so that's how much parents are willing to spend, even like in tier 5 cities. Okay, and not to mention the tier 1, tier 2, the cities where families are more even richer, right? So this is about the market. And also coronavirus virus impact online teaching. It's like the rest of the world. A lot of more people are more open to online teaching now. Okay, due to COVID impact. So there's a big market, online teaching market right now in China. So just a comment on this from my personal experience and also how I see the market in China. Yeah, great summary, Kitty.
Cool, great, thanks. And it's really interesting to hear your insights as well. I hadn't even realized like over 50% of family income being spent on education is huge. I think the stat I saw that the average is about 20 to 30%, which is still way more than in like the US and the UK. Yeah. I'm from the UK, in case anyone can tell from my accent. But like in the UK, I believe it's something like 3% of family income on average is spent on the child's education. Don't quote me the stats, but something along those lines. Whereas in China, it's like 10 times that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's this huge demand. A lot of that's thinking about kids' education, but it also applies to adults who are learning online as well. There's this huge demand for adult classes too.
Yeah.
Cool. So I had a bit of a question here. I thought it'd be really great to get people to discuss a little bit in the comments as well, because I know everyone's been introducing themselves, which is great. But if anyone wants to tell us a little bit about you, like who do you teach and what do you currently teach? It's really helpful to get a few insights. Just message in the comments. And I'd love to just have an idea as to what everyone else is currently teaching. Because what we want to talk about next is a little bit about the kids market and the adult market in China, and what kind of potential there is there. So it'd be interesting to hear what everyone is currently doing. There's also a bit of a lag, I think, between our live stream and people messaging. Okay, Dan's commenting saying kids, ESL to kids. A lot of people teaching kids.
Kids, yeah. More kids.
But Jessica's saying communications, business, writing, IELTS. Yeah, these are all fantastic things to be teaching. Actually, a lot of demand for.
I think these companies definitely opened up the market for like a children market in China. That's why a lot of teachers get the opportunity to teach Chinese children through these companies in the past few years.
Definitely. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, the comments are going wild. Great.
yeah, a lot
There's
of
a whole
teachers
range of different things actually, which is good to see.
Yeah, it's good. Absolutely.
Cool. Actually, James, do you want to jump in this bit to tell us a
Sure.
little bit about the adult market in China and what kind of potential you see there?
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about this from two different perspectives. One, my experience growing up in China, and also another perspective from my clients, our clients working, getting students from the adult China market right now. So from my own experience, right, there are always a big demand when it comes to learning English. It is still the case, and actually, more than ever, having the ability to speak better English means opportunities to everyone in China, better job, better career, even like just relocate to a bigger country, bigger city, right? So we emphasize a lot in the education in China, but the thing is, we don't always get the good results, the results we want after high school, after college. I shared this story myself. When I first came to the States, I barely can speak. I barely could speak, and not everyone could understand me. So there's a huge gap from after people graduate from college and to be able to communicate better actually the gap between the requirement to graduate from a school and the requirement to get a really good job. There's a gap. It's not like, okay, I passed my exam, I graduate from college, I'm good, I'm qualified for a lot of good job opportunities. It's not. There's a huge gap. That's why a lot of people are looking for additional training, support, education to help them get better and better with English. And again, means a lot of opportunities for them, for the families. And the simple thing, like if you go to the Chinese social media platforms and just take a look at how many, like all these teacher influencers like teaching adults English, they're followed by 100,000 people, couple 100,000 people, and they're selling their courses. Their courses are sold like a couple 100,000 times. So that tells you like how many people are buying these type of courses and to learn English. Okay, so this from my personal experience, also from the what I'm seeing, and also from our clients, who getting students in China. So it's just kind of crazy. You post something, like people ask you questions, want to learn from you. And we did a research the other day. We're like, what these people are learning English for? I think the top ones are like exam, right? A lot of people want to pass IELTS exam, TOEFL, and the other one will be, they wanted to study abroad. That's another one. I wanted to be able to communicate better, right? And the next one will be job promotion. That comes a lot. I want to get a promotion. I wanted to speak better with my colleagues so that I can get a job. Things like that. So from both ends, my personal experience and also what our clients are saying in the market, definitely a great market about adults in China. And about the niche is very important to penetrate the market, right? Teaching general English is fun. It's kind of, you have to go with a really massive market in order to get a good revenue. But having a niche allows you to charge a higher rate. That's another topic, right? A higher rate because you can special yourself and differentiate yourself. So about the China market, that's all what I wanted to comment on. If you guys have any questions, I know some of you actually teach adults, right? I'll definitely ask and I can answer a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting as well, because when we think, when people are teaching kids, we often think about like beginners English. But I think when it comes to teaching adults, there's a lot of potential to really focus in on these higher value niches. Like you talked about IELTS and TOEFL, but also business English, communication skills, people who want to get jobs at big international companies.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think this is
the beginner market for adults is also huge. Just different ways of penetrating the market. Yeah, but finding a niche is a very effective strategy if people want to charge a higher rate.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Even like when people are teaching beginners, just narrowing down into a more focused area is definitely really important.
Absolutely.
But those higher value, more advanced kind of niches definitely have a lot of
Yeah.
potential there. Jay's asked a question: how do I reach potential students for IELTS and TOEFL?
How do I reach potential students? It's just the same thing, right? When it comes to marketing, the number one thing is get yourself in front of your customers, right? Get yourself in front of your customers. Actually, we're gonna talk about these platforms, social media platforms that are popular in China. I will remember comment on this, which platform might be better for IELTS and TOEFL. Yeah. So remember when you say, oh, how do I reach potential students for anything? The question is, how can I get myself in front of the right people, right? So we're gonna talk about the social media platform that can be really helpful for this type of niches.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, if you stay on in this webinar for like maybe another 5-10 minutes or so, we're going to get to the point where we're going to talk about some different social media platforms. So we'll discuss a bit more about that then. Cool. Okay, should I talk a little bit about the kids in China? And if anyone's got any other questions and stuff, keep putting them in the chat. We'll come to those later on. So teaching children from China. So for me personally, I started off teaching like beginners English with actually Powerfish was a company I used to teach with. But on top of that, I was teaching with a few other more specialist platforms. And then when I went independent, I focused a lot more on teenagers. So I've kind of taught the range of what you might call children in the sense of young kids from as young as like 3 years old up to teenagers and those who are around like 18 or so looking to go study abroad in particular. So I've taught quite a broad range there. And I think when it comes to teaching children, this is in China and also in most other markets, the same concept applies. It's really, really important to understand your customer is not the child, the customer is the parent. Yeah. So I think whenever you look at teaching online for kids, your customer is the parent, not the child. So whenever you're doing your marketing, we were talking a lot about marketing today, your marketing is pitching towards the parent. As I mentioned, I've taught quite a broad range of different things. And I think parents have different expectations depending on who you're targeting. So if you're targeting beginner students, we're often looking at quite young kids in China. Kids in China start learning English from a very young age in many situations, not always. But a lot of parents are looking for their kids to start learning English as young as 3 years old or 5 years old. When I was living in China, I knew kids who were attending like these English kindergarten classes, at 3 years old. Which to me sounds crazy because in the UK, we don't normally start learning foreign languages until the later end of primary school. But yeah, in China, they do start young. So be aware of that if you're just kind of new to the Chinese market. But even beginners, they tend to be focusing a lot on speaking skills are really important. That's why they'll often be looking for online classes with like native speaking teachers is a really big thing for speaking skills. But they're also interested in things like reading and writing skills, particularly when they starting to get towards exam periods, because when it comes to the exams, reading, writing, these are particularly important for doing well in the exams. And parents want their kids to do well academically. That tends to be a really big drive for them. For me, though, I focus more on specialist classes. I feel like we've mentioned before, teaching beginners, it can be harder to get those high rates. For me, I focus mostly on debating related classes and science classes for kids who are like middle school age and they're looking to study abroad in the future. So I kind of narrowed down on a niche where I have a lot of expertise, like qualifications and experience that's relevant to that niche, because I was originally a science teacher back in the UK, but also where these students can't get classes easily with other platforms. Like they can't get specialist science classes with a company like VIPKid, even when that still existed. So you immediately cut out most of the competition. So I think this is definitely something to be aware of. And also for these students, they know what they're getting from my class is directly going to help them achieve some really key goal, like going to study abroad. So be aware of your students' goals. And James, you already kind of mentioned this as well, but like, be aware of the goals of your student and of your customer, so the parent, what they want their kids to achieve, and bear that in mind when you're doing your marketing. In terms of how to earn more, my experiences with kids in China, they're looking for teachers with specific qualifications and experience related to that niche. They're looking for very specialist classes that are helping them achieve these key goals. They're not necessarily looking for general classes if you want to charge higher rates. And really focus in on some of the key like transitions, I would say. Like there's the key exam periods, so different ages when the kids are taking exams. You'd be offering classes that are helping them prepare for these exams. Particularly kids who want to study abroad, English is going to be really, really critical for them to have success going to study abroad in an English-speaking country. So that can be a really big thing to focus on. They may need to pass something like the IELTS exam, so that's relevant for adults as well, who might need to take IELTS, but also older teenagers who are looking to study abroad will also need to take the IELTS exam or TOEFL. Those exams are really important. And also I find that a lot of my students, if they're looking to study at top universities abroad, they need help working on other aspects of the application. Like I've helped students working on independent science research projects where they need to know the academic writing, like how to write an essay about science in English, or the entering competitions that has to be submitted in English, because that's all important for their university or if you're American college applications in the future. So all of these, like thinking about their longer term goals, what they actually need to achieve to get to that goal, and then focusing your classes and your marketing therefore around that.
Absolutely. I understand your market, right? I understand your audience, what they're looking for, what they're looking for. Don't just teach what other people are teaching, right? There are always gaps. I like what you said there about specialized classes. No, I'm teaching English, but I'm also teaching you science, right? And I'm teaching English through debate. So these are things that can make you more unique. And when you are more unique, these parents and these customers stop comparing you with other teachers, regular teachers. And also I like the last part too, the application process. So many, I'm so surprised. So many parents are sending their kids to the US or other in countries, even at high school, middle school. It's like so young, but they're here. And they need help with this whole process, like application process. That's a great market to consider as well. So and very quickly, we have over 100 people watching this webinar right now from all different platforms. So if you have enjoyed this topic, the discussion, the webinar so far, please help us click on the like button to help us promote the webinars. More people can join us and comment, contribute to the conversation we have so far. And on the other hand, a lot of people, some people are asking questions about the payment in China, the regulations happening, the technical issues in China. So we don't want to spend too much time on that because it can be getting really tedious on the end. But as I just mentioned, as long as you know there are teachers doing it, getting paid, teaching students, getting students, right? You can do the same. So we're gonna share more information about these in the future. Not gonna be too long from now to help you guys get these workarounds and get it started, right? So just remember, there are so many people are doing it right now, and it's doable. That's all we want to tell you and remind you guys. Okay. Yeah, thanks for contributing a lot of questions. We'll try to get back to you guys at the end.
Fantastic. Yeah. So like as James was saying, a huge potential here. It doesn't matter kind of which age you're targeting, even what kind of niches you're targeting. I think there's a huge potential within the Chinese market. Should we move swiftly on to the stuff about the social media platforms? I think that's what a lot of people have tuned in to hear more about.
Sure.
As James said, questions, please put them in the comments, and we're definitely going to come to those as we go, probably towards the end. Also, prompts for the comments if anyone's wanting to join in a little bit more. Is anyone here already on Chinese social media? Let us know a little bit about what platforms you're currently using, and how they're going, how success you've had with marketing already in China. It'd be really useful to hear, and everyone's going to learn a bit from each other as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, feel free to pop those in the comments.
Yeah, let us know which social media platform you are on, and let's see if we can cover most of the social media platforms you are using in China.
Yeah. So today we've got, I think, 6 different platforms to have a look at, or 5, I can't count. Anyway, 5 or 6 key platforms to have a look at. But there's a huge amount of different options. But these, I think, are probably the key ones.
Yeah.
So I want to jump straight in by starting to talk about WeChat. So WeChat is like an absolute must-have if you're teaching students in China, because it's, I can't explain how much of my life I spent on WeChat when I was living in China. But like everything is done on China.
Maybe more than I do.
Yeah, like everything. So it's not just a messaging platform. People often compare it to WhatsApp because it's on the face of it, it's a messaging platform, direct private messaging platform.
Yeah.
However, it's got so many other features. I mean, I was booking train tickets, holidays, flights. I managed all my online banking. I did everything on WeChat. It's almost a whole phone operating system itself. So the reason it's so important if you're targeting Chinese learners is because Chinese people are on WeChat all day. Like they're always on WeChat. They've got the notifications turned on because this is the main way they communicate. It's replaced text and email and those sort of things. Is definitely the way to communicate with people. In terms of marketing, it's got more limited potential. It's still got huge potential to market and promote yourself, but it does often require a certain existing base of students in terms of referral marketing. There is a section called WeChat channels, which I know I've done some webinars about previously, but it's only available to a few people in certain countries. So for most people, WeChat is limited to mostly private messaging. There's a there's the option to create group chats, and there's something called WeChat Moments, which is kind of like a news feed kind of thing. You can post pictures and videos and
Moments.
text posts and things on WeChat Moments. You can upload videos and things. And if you're a company, you can create an official account. You can create mini apps. That's probably a bit advanced for most people. But companies like VIP Kid had a mini app on WeChat, so people could, I think, manage their classes and stuff within the WeChat platform itself. But yeah, for most online ESL teachers, you would be using WeChat for directly messaging with your students, organizing class times. Also, group chats I find really useful from a marketing perspective. I have a group chat for all my students, and I share kind of interesting updates, useful resources and things. Like you can use this as a kind of nurture group for leads you bought from other platforms to WeChat in order to then nurture those leads and then convert them into paying students. So WeChat is kind of the end point of your social media marketing funnel, I would say, in China. And it's just, it's essential app in general. I'm not sure what anything else to add to that. James, do you have any comments to make on WeChat?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm rambling a bit.
Yes, WeChat is huge. Okay, it doesn't matter what you do and what you use to get students, teach students from China. You need to have WeChat. Okay, and just one thing to kind of add on to what Kitty has already shared. WeChat has everything, and people see WeChat as a combination of Messenger, Facebook, WhatsApp, all of different apps together, and it has the biggest user group in China, 1.2 billion. Okay, 1.2 billion monthly users is crazy. Okay, 80-90% of people in China are on WeChat. Okay, so one thing I want to kind of add a little bit more, just to help you guys from understand this from a marketing perspective, right? So WeChat is different from all the other platforms we're gonna talk about today later. Is that WeChat is a closed community. Okay, closed community. That means, and that's kind of WeChat's focus. They focus more on friends, people you already know, right? That means it's really hard to get people who don't know you to know you on WeChat. And WeChat, we don't usually use WeChat for lead generation, like getting more leads. We use other social media platforms. We're going to talk about it for lead generation, but we always direct them to WeChat because WeChat is a closed platform, and where you can do your nurturing, you can have your community there, you can manage your groups, right? So that's how you see WeChat. WeChat, just like what Kitty said, is like at the end of the funnel. WeChat always get people to the WeChat, right? And once they're on WeChat, you're a friend to them, right? WeChat. And one more thing is about WeChat, the referral marketing. So when it's a closed community, right, you cannot easily get yourself in front of others, but you can ask people to refer you to others. And the very common strategy we use on WeChat, you have a groups, you ask people to invite people to the groups, right? Referral marketing. Yeah, WeChat, number one, is a must. You need to have if you want to get students from China. Second of all, I want to say it's a closed community and how you use closed community, right? And referral marketing is very, very important when it comes to WeChat marketing. Yep.
Yeah, and I'd say a lot of teachers have success just on WeChat if you already have a base of students. But if you don't already have a base of students, you want to use, as you were saying, James, a lead generation social media platform, which is what we're going to get onto next.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one to have a look at is Weibo, and I just want to talk about this one a little bit more briefly because it's, I think, a little bit more limited. I personally not used Weibo a huge amount, but it does have a lot of potential, particularly if you're targeting adult learners. So Weibo is kind of referred to as Chinese Twitter. Is the comparison a lot of people make. It's not in any way exactly the same as Twitter, but it's a similar kind of concept. It's got 500 million monthly users, so it's one of the largest platforms in China. And you can post those short Twitter-style kind of updates. You can add images, videos, GIFs, and like short stories and things. So you can see in the picture here, it looks like this. People usually use Weibo for news and gossip and sort of following brands and things. It tends to be a bit like Twitter. It's not really somewhere where people message their friends, but it is somewhere where they go for official updates. So it can be a good place if you're targeting adult learners and you want to have maybe a slightly more formal presence. Have you used Weibo an awful lot, James?
Yes, I used to get on Weibo a lot. Maybe a few years ago. I'm not that active anymore. So Weibo, yes, it's very similar to Twitter. If you're not familiar with Weibo, you can post short text and images, all that, and you can get followed and follow others. for information. Most people are there for news and gossip, all that. So our clients haven't got much success on Weibo. I think this is kind of the type of the nature of the platform. Weibo, I mean, of course, you can get some results on Weibo, but compared to other platforms, Weibo is not that effective when it comes to marketing and selling your services. Yeah, and some Helen asked question how to register on Weibo. So again, guys, we can share screen and show you how to do that. But just remember, people are doing it. That means you are able to do it. Even as a foreigner, you can register Weibo. You can get on WeChat. Always ways. Hopefully not too long from now, we're gonna have other webinars or workshops to kind of help you guys with that. Yes, you can get on Weibo and register on Weibo. There are ways, to do that. Okay, so yeah, that's all for me about Weibo.
Definitely. I'll say in terms of getting on Weibo, it's quite simple. Actually, you just put in your phone number. It works internationally. You can put international phone numbers in, and it works fine. Or you can register with your WeChat account. They have a WeChat login option, so it's actually quite straightforward to sign up. I would say if you're using Weibo for advertising, there's a lot of focus on sort of trending, sort of hashtags or trending topics in terms of trying to get in front of an audience. But that can be hard to do unless you happen to be offering classes that are related to these trending topics. So yeah, personally, I kind of included Weibo in this presentation because it's listed as one of the top Chinese social media platforms a lot of people be looking into. And I would say unless you're focusing on really specific niche that relates to these, maybe it's one to skip over. But just be aware that it's there. In terms of the age distribution, though, it's got a slightly older age distribution than some of the other platforms we're looking at. So if you're looking at, say, sort of more experienced professionals, it might be a place to look.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's move swiftly on to a couple of other ones that people may be more familiar with. And these are, I've got two platforms here that I'm comparing to each other because they're very similar, but they're not the same. And these are Dorian and Xiao. So Dorian and Xiao are like, they're very similar to TikTok. Dorian is actually owned by the same company as TikTok. It's the same, basically the same app. They just have Dorian, which is the Chinese app, and TikTok, which is the international app. They don't link together, the two. So what you post on Dorian does not get shown to TikTok users. What you post on TikTok does not reach the Chinese market. But if you've used TikTok before, the interface on Dorian is very similar. So you'll be familiar with it. Xiao is a very similar concept. Again, these are both shorts video platforms, sort of short form videos. I would say Dorian is more popular in these first tier cities, so Beijing, Shanghai, like the higher income earning cities, big financial centers, whereas Xiao has got a larger audience in lower tier cities. That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have the money to pay for classes, but it means that the way in which you market might be a little bit different. So as we talked before about how people in second and third tier cities might be more aspiring to the top jobs, maybe aspiring to move to bigger cities, and they don't necessarily have as much international exposure in those cities. So actually, these can be better markets to target because they're looking to spend money on these classes because they don't have access to it locally. So these are the two. That's one of the main comparison. The age range for both is relatively similar. We're looking at people mostly in their 20s. So it's a relatively young age. So Xiao is very popular with like university students and also sort of young people, young professionals. Similar with Dorian.
Yeah. So I'm not sure about the I'm not sure about the age. My mom is on Douyin.
Your mom is on Douyin. Okay.
She's actually influencer on Douyin. She's followed by probably like 50,000 people on Douyin.
So there we go.
Yes, and all her friends are on Douyin too. So quickly about it too. Short form videos getting popular everywhere, right? Because of Douyin, because TikTok, Instagram launched Reels, YouTube launched Shorts to compete, right? So that's the trending format or trending content that people get really addicted to, short form, and that also gives you opportunities, right? Opportunities to get a lot of followers, a lot of exposure to a certain market, right? So, and short video content works very different. You have to follow, what is working, what is not working. But if this kind of style is your style, you can get a lot of followers very, very quickly, right? One of our clients, not on YouTube but on IG Reels, right, got from 50,000 to 20,000 to 200,000 in just a couple of weeks. Just short videos, Reels, right? And same thing with Douyin and Kuaishou or TikTok. They're getting more and more popular in China and also worldwide right now. And some of you might say, oh, I try to get on Douyin as foreign I can. So there are always workarounds. We have clients that are on Douyin, right? They're setting their programs on Douyin right now. So definitely look into. These are great opportunity, a lot of potential in these two platforms right now in China.
I say from my experience, Dorian locked my Dorian account like just over a year ago because they introduced a new verification system which was not available to non-Chinese users. I think the workaround is either having someone in China or having a business and going through a business registration system. So it's a little bit more complicated. Dorian is to get registered. Kuaishou, it got set up in like 5 minutes. So I've never had any issues registering Kuaishou. That just might be something else to be aware of in terms of the registration. So we're not going to go into details of registration today. If you look online, there are many guides as to how to register on these platforms. And they're quite self-explanatory. Like you put in your phone number, it sends you a code, the same sort of system as most platforms. One thing I would say though with short form video, I've never been very good at short form video, but I would say that Dorian in particular, the algorithm really pushes viral content. So if you post something, it either goes viral or no one sees it. So it can be a lot about trying to understand the algorithm, understand what you need to do to get popular. And it's very much about reaching the right people and getting the engagement. Engagement is really important in terms of telling Douyin or telling the platform that your post is good, so it then shares it to more people, right? So viral potential is really important on Dorian. Kuaishou, the algorithm is a little bit more gentle towards like new people on Kuaishou, so you can reach a reasonable audience even without having those fun viral dance videos or whatever. It's not such a thing. But Kuaishou has more of a focus on live streaming, which is not available to anyone outside of China. Even if you're a Chinese registered user, but if you're located out of China, the live streaming, I've had friends who've had issues with live streaming. So Kuaishou is more focused on live streaming, but does have a short form video section, which is also very popular. So these are these two. I'm not going to dwell too much on these, but just want to introduce them briefly as TikTok equivalents that you might want to look into if that's your style of marketing. Someone's put in the comments about not finding Douyin in the App Store. There's this a bit complicated because they geo-restricted it to only Chinese users. You have to download, if you've got Android, download the APK file from the website. If you have an iPhone, I think you have to change your location to mainland China. It's complicated. Look up online how to register and there'll be a guide.
There are workarounds. Definitely look up online. A lot of people talk about it already.
I have a video on my YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. It's a Douyin guide. If you
definitely
Google Douyin guide, I think mine's the video that pops up.
So. Follow Kitty for that. So let's move on to the next one.
Next one to have a look at is BillyBilly. And BillyBilly is there's actually a couple of YouTube equivalents in China. BillyBilly is one. Another one's called Youku, which is slightly more focused on like more professionally produced content. But BillyBilly is quite open to anyone to upload videos and stuff. You don't have to be a business. It doesn't have to be super formal necessarily. So it's a YouTube equivalent app. It has 270 million monthly users, so it's still got a very large audience. The majority of them are aged under 35, so still relatively young. So this is good, I would say, particularly for targeting young professionals. I don't see a lot of young people, like very young people on BillyBilly. But just in terms of my friends and my own contacts, I've sort of noticed that it tends to be more people around their sort of 30s or so, or like late 20s. A lot of sort of young professionals are on BillyBilly or browsing videos there. Not necessarily the very young 20s, they're all on TikTok or something, Douyin, those platforms. But and I'd say what does really well on BillyBilly, it originally focused on sort of entertaining video content. So the original target sort of audience of BillyBilly were people interested in gaming, anime, music, vlogs, and so on. But there's still a lot of potential for someone who's not in this niche, like most of us are online teachers, so you're focusing more on educational content. There's still a lot of potential there. And something that's really important when you're posting things on BillyBilly is how people engage with videos. So it's a bit different to YouTube. Instead, they've got something called bullet comments. You also see there's a few other Chinese platforms as well. Bullet comments they appear like, in a live stream, the comment pops up at the time in which you commented. On BillyBilly, even if it's not a live stream, it's just a uploaded video, the comment appears at the time in which you posted it, like appears on the video itself, like as a stream of comments across the video. So that can actually be really, really powerful in terms of building engagement with your audience by getting them to answer questions and stuff throughout your video as if it's live, even though it's not live. I'm not sure that's making sense. If you browse some videos on BillyBilly, you'll see what I mean by this bullet comments idea. But
it
yeah,
can be annoying sometimes.
it
No,
can. You can turn it off.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can turn it off, but sometimes the bully comments are so
Mm.
many, it covers everything. You can only
Yes.
see the bully comments. Yeah, that's definitely true. That is very popular on BillyBilly.
Hmm.
And it's a YouTube equivalent in China. You can
Hmm.
post both short form and long form videos. The demographic definitely is younger compared to other platforms. It's a great place. We have a client on BillyBilly,
Hmm.
500,000 followers there. Yeah, it's doing great. So there are a lot of opportunities. But take some time to grow there. It's a good platform for. No, again, depending on the style and their niche,
Mm.
right? Depending on your style and your perfect audience, right? Where can you easily find your perfect audience, and then what style, like marketing style that fits you? That I think that's what's gonna help you decide which platform is gonna be better for you.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like Billy does well if you're someone who's making slightly longer form video content. So something like
Yeah,
Dorian or Xiao, these TikTok style platforms, you need to grab your audience in the first like 3 seconds or they've moved
yeah,
on.
exactly.
Whereas something like Billy, people are going to watch it a little bit longer. You can create
Yeah,
longer form content that's a little bit more educational, adds more value. Also, the stuff on Bilibili is like active for a longer period of time because it'll pop up in search results and things forever.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
other platforms goes old quicker and is therefore the
mhm,
algorithm doesn't show it to more people elsewhere.
yeah,
Whereas Bilibili is more focused on search and
yeah,
stuff can last for a long time on Bilibili.
yeah,
It's also just a good place for hosting videos in general. So if you've got like intro videos or you some like mini course kind of videos or something you want to create that are too big to put on your WeChat moments, or like WeChat moments isn't really a great place for
yeah,
hosting videos anyway. Bilibili is a good place for just hosting videos in China for free. It can
yeah,
be kind of YouTube equivalent from that point of view.
absolutely.
Yep, cool. Okay, the last platform I want to talk about, and this is the one I know a lot of people are really interested in, and which personally I focused a lot on, is Xiao, which means little red book. And it's often referred to as a kind of Instagram equivalent. It's very different to Instagram. I think the more you play with it, the more you sort of spot these differences. But it's broadly a similar concept to Instagram in that it's a visual microblogging kind of platform.
Yeah,
There's also got what's called a social e-commerce element. This is something I think is quite unique to China. We don't see this so much with Western social media platforms, but this idea of social e-commerce is really quite powerful. So when they created Xiaohongshu when it was first launched, they linked it in with the e-commerce aspect. So they'd have influencers on Xiaohongshu, modeling their outfit, and then you click on things and you can buy exactly the things that are in the outfit. That's what they focused on. That's how they made their money. And it means that people go to Xiaohongshu particularly to get recommendations of products and with the idea that they might be buying stuff, which is really powerful if you're advertising a service, right? Because people are
yes,
ready to buy. So that could be really important to be aware of. It has evolved since they first launched, and the people post a lot of stuff that's nothing to do with e-commerce. You don't have to post, and in fact, if you're not Chinese, you can't necessarily use the e-commerce platform. But it's just the mindset that people come with is that it's
yeah,
acceptable to be promoting things because that's what people know Xiaohongshu is about. It's also huge, so it's got about 100 million monthly users, and it's also rapidly growing, one of the biggest growing platforms in China. And interestingly, the majority of users are female and aged 19 to 35 in tier 1 cities. So if anyone's teaching kids, like young kids, this is a really powerful platform because their parents, and it's often the mother who's making a lot of purchasing decisions around their child's education, not always, but quite often, parents of young kids are in that kind of age range. And if they're in a tier 1 city, they often have that slightly higher spending power and they're looking for their child to have these classes even at quite a young age. And similarly, if you're targeting young professionals or university students, they're also within this sort of age range. I see a lot of students on Xiaohongshu, like university students, that kind of age. So that can be a really big niche that does well on Xiaohongshu. And just like with Instagram, you can post videos, you can post images, you do carousel posts with multiple images. There's also something called Hey Post, which is a bit like Instagram stories. These are all things you get within
yeah,
Xiaohongshu. And yeah, it originally started focusing on health and beauty, travel, and things like that, but has since grown a lot in education, parenting, these markets. And you'll find a lot of young professionals and business professionals as well talking about their experiences on Xiaohongshu. And if you're posting things, I would recommend really focusing your marketing on stuff that is genuinely valuable, educational, and teaches your audience something new. So people don't want to see adverts on Xiaoshu. They go there because they're looking, we said about the e-commerce side, but they're looking to hear people's perspectives and more interesting insights into something before they buy it. They don't want to see something that looks like an advert, like buy my class now, 10% off or something. That doesn't do so well. You want to share stuff that is genuinely valuable and useful to them, such as, top 10 tips on something or other, or top resources for this, or my advice for doing well in the writing part of your IELTS exam. These sort of content can do really well on Xiaoshu. Yeah, I'm not sure how familiar you are with James with Xiaoshu. Have you used it?
I think I'm familiar with. So my sister actually on Xiaohongshu. She's not on TikTok or no, she's not on Douyin or Kuaishou. Not much on WeChat or Weibo, but on Xiaohongshu like all the time. So she faced the demographics described here: women aged 19 between 19 and 35, and she had 2 sons, right? So the perspective or the expectation people use Xiaohongshu is just like what you said. They want they go there to get different perspective of the services they want to buy, and they use that for the e-commerce, all that. So Xiaohongshu, if you teach children, I see a lot of kind of teachers already on Xiaohongshu. If you teach children, if you teach college and younger professionals, it's a great place. And also, they have short form videos available as well as getting more popular on Xiaohongshu too. So if your style is like short form video, you can definitely try that on Xiaohongshu. Yeah, it's a great platform. Platform for teachers for sure, especially foreign teachers. It's more open to these type of education tips and services on the platform in general.
Definitely. And like for me personally, the apps that I focus on, obviously WeChat is essential for the messaging side, and I've used it a lot for talked a bit about group chats and this idea of creating a nurture group. That's something I do on WeChat. But Xiaoshu is my main as lead generation app that I use. It's been really powerful for me, and I definitely highly recommend it as one to look at if you're targeting similar markets to me, for example. I had a few more stats actually about Xiaoshu just because I love it so much. But I wanted to show a little bit why I think it's such a great platform. So first, if we look at the city type, we talked about the idea of tier 1 cities where people tend to have a slightly higher spending power. Over half of users on Xiaoshu are in tier 1 cities. People in tier 1 cities, they tend to be kind of money rich, but time poor. So they're looking for those higher value classes. They're willing to spend good money on classes that are offering more value and are very specific to what their child or what they themselves need in terms of their education. So they've got the money to spend, but you need to be offering classes that are that bit more niche, that are more focused, that's offering clear value to them. So I think that's really important to be aware of when you're promoting things on Xiaoshu. This is always surprises me every time I look at this, but the idea that nearly 90% of users on Xiaoshu are female. So it is massively, it's a really great place to be if you're targeting kids because the mothers tend to be on Xiaoshu. And they're often aged 18 to 34, this kind of age range. It drops off a lot with the older age ranges though. So if you're someone who's targeting more experienced professionals, it's probably more limited on Xiaoshu. There'll be other platforms to look at instead. We talked a bit before about Weibo, for example, which has an older audience. Xiaoshu does tend to be sort of 20s to early 30s, that age range. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Xiaoshu, highly recommend it. So yeah, cool. And I think that was the end of our bit about the social media platforms. Should we launch into a bit talking about the challenge, or do you want to answer some questions and things first?
Yeah, let's talk about the challenges, and we do have a bonus, and let's finish that, and we can get back to some questions you guys asked. So yeah, the 21 challenge, some of you probably have already joined and done it before. And for those who haven't done it before, interested in taking some action, getting students online, 21 challenges are signature products, group training that we launch every month on the first day of each month. The next round is on January 1st. So we help you understand your niche, define your niche, and marketing, sales, the principles, the strategies we use. And just to be transparent, we don't touch on the China market that much, but we focus a lot on the principles, lead generation, nurturing, how you manage, your leads and engage. So all these are applicable to anywhere, right? So if you're interested, if you're thinking about getting your students online yourself and learning more marketing skills, even online teaching strategies, right? Definitely look into the 21 challenge, and we're giving out 35% discounts. So the market price is $197, and the 35% discount is $127. And besides these discounts, for this January round in specific, all right, everyone who joins through this particular link, you will also receive a free Xiaohongshu starter course that help you get started with Xiaohongshu, and that is provided by a bridge from Kitty. So Kitty gonna talk about that starter course very quickly here.
Cool, fantastic, thanks. So the 21-day challenge that James was saying is kind of helping you understand the marketing principles and also sort of developing yourself as a niche teacher, how to pitch and how to promote yourself in general. But I know a lot of people today are really interested in marketing within China specifically. So I also have available the Xiao marketing course. Now this is something you can buy individually, but offering a really special deal today where we're packaging it with the 21-day challenge. Actually, James, you want to put a link in the comments? I'm not sure if you can do that from your end. Maybe with a link to where people could sign up for this. But so we've got this special package that's got the 21-day challenge and the Xiao marketing course together, and with a big discount. So it's a win-win. So the Xiao marketing course, this is a self-paced course, so you can do it anytime, whenever you want. You get lifetime access. It's a video course. There's a whole series of different videos. There's also written content. There's downloadable resources, all kinds of stuff that come packaged with it. And essentially, it guides you through becoming an expert in marketing your services in China, particularly focusing on being an online ESL teacher, or in fact, an online subject teacher, how you can use Xiao to promote your classes. So we cover things like how to optimize your profile, how to develop a social media marketing strategy, like what to post, how to post, and also how to understand the algorithm and how the algorithm works on Xiao, which I think is really important when you're trying to post things. I see a lot of teachers posting stuff, but they are maybe missing out on a lot of strategies you need to harness the algorithm, and they'll get like 1 or 2 likes or something, and then so very little engagement, and then no leads, no people reaching out to them, no one booking classes. So I think this is really, really powerful and important knowledge to know. How does the algorithm work? And then we'll talk about how to funnel these leads into paying students. We said how Xiao is the top of your marketing funnel, your lead generation sort of engine, where you're going to bring in those bring in your audience by producing really awesome, exciting, powerful posts.
Yeah.
But then how do you convert those into paying students? And that's something that's also covered in the course.
Yeah. So in the 21 challenge, we talk about the principles, the strategies when it comes to marketing and sales, and we focus on LinkedIn, Facebook, Clubhouse, these 3 platforms in 21 challenge. And then Xiaohongshu marketing course, star course can be a good add-on. And you're gonna see the strategy, the kind of principles when it comes to marketing is very similar, but how to leverage the features that specifically available on Xiaohongshu to help you generate leads, right? Get them into your business pipeline, and that's what is covered in this course. And it's a bonus, a free bonus. Okay, so if you join the 21 challenge, you get 35% discount and this free course, Xiaohongshu starter course, and it's only through the link I share with you guys. If you register through that link, you will get the discount and the free digital course.
Exactly, yeah. I see some people asking, like, can they buy the course separately? It is available separately on the AH Academy website, but to be honest, it's only about $20 more. I can't remember the exact. So I'm trying to convert here between pounds and dollars in my head. But it's not much more to buy the whole thing together. And I think what you need is the combination of understanding your niche, understanding how to pitch yourself and how to do the sales and marketing side, along with the course, is a really powerful combination.
I guess so for someone who have already done the challenge, if you feel like you don't need to do it again and you're interested in this course, definitely follow us. It's available for you guys to purchase right now. You can reach out to us, and for sure we're gonna launch something more about these Chinese social media marketing courses in 2023. You can always reach out to us. So Joy. So if you guys have already purchase the 21 challenge for the January, if you're interested in this bonus as well, you'll definitely reach out to us and we can make some special arrangements and to help you guys, right? Just contact our support team and we're gonna help you.
Awesome, fantastic. I'll also, anyone who was on my email list, if you got an email from me before, I'll make sure I email everyone that link to sign up for the 21-day challenge with this package.
It's good. Yeah, let's answer some questions, Kitty.
Mhm.
So
A lot of questions, a lot of
yeah,
comments.
and
Sorry
we're
if we don't get to them all. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so Kitty, if you want to find some questions, definitely
Mhm.
answer them first, and I will try to find some questions to answer. So we're not gonna get into the regulations, the registration, the technical part of it. As I said, go to YouTube, search it for it. If you don't find the answer, we'll try to help you guys, and follow Kitty's YouTube channel. There's a lot of information there already to help you guys. We're gonna focus on more strategical level of questions.
Absolutely. I'm just scrolling down, so we've got lots of comments, which is fantastic. I'm seeing any particular questions jumping out. This is what happens. We've got too many people engaged and everyone saying some fantastic comments, which is really great to see. Mostly people talking about their niches and so on.
Guys, just so you know, it's my turn to watch my daughter, so I will be multitasking. Sorry about that.
Someone's asked James, when do you begin the 21-day challenge? That was Angel. This was a while back, about half an hour.
The
Someone asked,
next
how do we
one,
join the
yeah.
21-day challenge? When does it start?
Hello. All right. So my daughter is staying at home today, and my wife has a meeting at 10 a.m. So it's my turn. Okay. So what was your question, Katie? So about the
Angel's asked, hello James, very interesting talk, thank you. When do you begin the 21-day challenge?
the next round starts on January 1st, and so to get the 35% discount and the free Xiaohongshu course, you need to register through that link I shared with you guys. Okay.
Absolutely, great. And we get started on the 1st, so buy now. So purchase, sign up now. You've got just over a week or so to sign up before the challenge starts. Cool. Kathleen's asked, how big a deal of it in terms of getting clients in China if I, as a teacher, don't speak Chinese? So I would say, for me personally, I studied Chinese when I was studying in China before. So I got to a reasonable level, enough to be able to message, post videos, communicate everyday stuff quite well in Chinese. But if you don't speak Chinese, a lot of people in China understand that online teachers from other countries don't speak Chinese. They're not going to expect you to speak Chinese. There are some really great translation apps. To be honest, Google Translate does a decent enough job most of the time. That you can, if you're messaging people on WeChat's got a built-in translation tool, so they can long press and you can long press on a message, click translate, and it'll translate it into your language. It's a bit iffy. If it doesn't work properly, just copy and paste it into Google Translate to get a slightly better translation. But so general messaging you can just do in English and they will reply back in Chinese and you can translate within WeChat. On Xiaohongshu, it doesn't have a translation feature, and the same with most of the other platforms we've talked about. They don't have built-in translation. But what I'd recommend doing, I'd always recommend posting in Chinese because people are going to be searching in Chinese. If you post in Chinese, it's more likely to reach a Chinese audience. If you post in English, it's only going to reach other English speakers because Xiaohongshu or whichever platform you're advertising on will pick up on the fact that you've written it in English and they'll share it with other English-speaking people, which is not your target audience generally. So I'd recommend writing stuff in Chinese, but if you don't know Chinese yourself, you can Google Translate things. There's also an app that's been recommended to me called DeepL, which a lot of people use, which is slightly better than Google Translate for translating. But yeah, don't worry if you don't speak Chinese. People understand that you won't speak Chinese. It's okay. Jay's asked, how do I reach potential students for IELTS and TOEFL? James, I'm not sure you might know a bit more about these.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So actually, you guys gonna be surprised how many people are looking for IELTS and TOEFL support on social media. So one of my clients, he doesn't post anything about IELTS and TOEFL at all. He doesn't post anything about it, and he got messages every single day. Can you teach me IELTS? Can you teach me TOEFL? So they are on social media. They're looking for people. So just like what Kitty shared, right? Get on the social media platform that you want to be on and start sharing, posting, and you will get people reach out to you. This just like that easy. And just because the market is huge, right? The market is huge, and the competition. Yeah, there's a lot of people doing that, but everyone get a slice of the pie, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So I think there's definitely a huge potential for IELTS and TOEFL. Like, I don't teach IELTS or TOEFL either, but I still get people asking about it. It's completely outside of my target market, but people ask anyways. So there's definitely potential there. Advertise on social media platforms, share content. If you're posting on Xiao, share like example exam questions from IELTS and work through how you'd answer it, or explaining the mark scheme. If you're someone who's previously been an examiner for IELTS or TOEFL exams, that can be a really great way to advertise yourself and use that to your advantage. But yeah. Shamim has asked, what's an average price in US dollars for adults? Do you have any ideas for getting into the market? So I guess as someone new to the market, how do you set your rate? I think is kind of the question there.
So if they are new to the market,
so average price in US dollars for adults. I guess it depends a lot on what your niche is.
You mean how much they should charge, or sorry?
Yes, I think that's the question. How much to charge in US dollars for adults?
Yeah, so for IELTS, and if you're doing exam preparation, so don't expect to charge too. don't
So
expect
cute.
to charge too much more than others. Okay, so if you're teaching exam preparation, and usually people are paying, I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure, but you're looking at probably $20-$30 an hour. That's kind of what people are paying, as far as I know, for exam preparation. And usually, if you do exam preparation, you can look into groups if you want to make it a little bit more hourly, because the size of market there, Vivi, and it is not hard to get students, but it's hard to charge really high with the exam preparation.
Yeah, I think when people are focusing on higher value niches, so I know James, the 21-day challenge focuses a lot more on like how you can niche down perhaps and target high value niches, and that's where you're going to get the high rates and charge higher prices. Okay, so many questions. People ask about payments and stuff. I don't think we're going to have time to go into the details of like how to get payments. If you want to get payments from China, if you look on YouTube, get payments from China with Stripe. I've got a video on that. It appears on YouTube. If you Google it, lots of people have got advice on that sort of thing. We're on WeChat register. So I'm just scrolling down. We've got a lot of questions, a lot of comments. So I'm picking out some good questions here. Helen's asked, I'd be interested in learning more how I teach debating. Okay. Again, it's probably a bit off today's topic, but feel free to reach out to me if you want to ask more about my debating classes. I love debating. But this is like an example of, if you're someone who's taught debating before and you have a good background experience in debating, this is a good niche to go into. If you're someone who's not taught debating before, I'd probably say it's hard to stand out. It's good if you have existing expertise in this area if you're trying to advertise yourself within this niche. But yeah, we do debates. I teach debating skills. I'm not sure how to explain this without a lot of detail. I'm going to skip through that question, but feel free to reach out to me separately if you want to chat about debating classes. Similarly, someone's asked about science and stuff. I'm happy to chat about that separately.
Yeah, Katie, do you want to share your YouTube channel with us?
Yes, I don't think I can message in the comments, but if you just search on YouTube for Katie Prescott, like my name, my YouTube channel is just my name is youtube.com/@Katie Prescott. But feel free to search. My name is just Katie Prescott. If you search that on YouTube, it comes up. But yeah, I'm just having a look at other questions that have come up here. Rachel's asked, would there be a market for teaching other languages other than English, like Spanish? Definitely, I would say yes. Actually, something I didn't talk much about today, but at ABH Academy, we've got our own online tutoring program in collaboration with a Chinese organization. And we offer Spanish classes, German classes, French classes, and these have been also very popular. We tend to find that it's often students who are at international schools or bilingual schools, so they've already got a good level of English as their main second language. So they're picking up another foreign language, and they might be like in their early teens, that kind of age, and they start picking up something like Spanish or German, some other foreign languages. That's just from my experiences with our own program. But we've had quite a lot of interest, particularly in Spanish, actually. Spanish, I'd say, is the number one. And then probably German was the second most popular sort of second language we're offering. But yeah, there's definitely demand for that. Students that we've taught tend to be more beginners level at sort of pre-teens to teenage kind of age, just from my experience. But there's a huge market, I'm sure. James, have you got any insights?
Yeah. So I just shared the YouTube channel link.
Oh, thanks.
With you guys, follow Katie. She shared a lot of more technical things on her YouTube channel, and also reach out and follow her, right? When it comes to Chinese market. And the other thing about the languages, yeah, I know German is kind of very popular. My wife actually learned German herself. So yeah, there are a lot of languages available, and things are different now. And I know in these families, right? All the parents are thinking about like helping their kids learn multiple languages, not just one. So there's definitely market. I guess if you have hesitations, if you're not sure about something, just do it, right? Try it. Get on the social media and see if there are people teaching Spanish, if there are people teaching French, if you can find a lot of accounts like posting about French, Spanish on social media, that means there's a market. Right? You can always go there and try to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I think as all of these people say, oh, is the market big enough? But actually, you don't have to have a huge market. Remember, you might only need sort of 20 or 30 students to have a full-time teaching income. In fact, I know people who've been successful even with less than 10 students if you're charging very high rates. So you don't need to have a huge multi-million-dollar market in your specific niche, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Absolutely, yeah.
number
Katie,
who are looking for exactly what you're offering. So if you're offering, highly specialized Spanish classes or something, that's the thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Katie, I know we're running over now, so
yeah, I know.
Maybe just answer one or two more questions. So I know you guys asked some questions very early on, and it's really hard to scroll back and answer them. So if we missed your question, please ask again in the chat. We're gonna probably answer another one or two then for today. That we for today.
Definitely. I'm going to pick out quickly. Chris has asked, how do we make sure our website is accessible in the mainland? James, do you recommend people have a website?
Yes, we have clients have website, and they actually use the website to get paid. It's simple, right? You just ask. I think most of the websites are accessible in China, right? If you're not sure, you can always ask a person who's in China, right, to check it for you.
Yeah.
And
if you Google blocked in China, there's one that pops up that you can check if there's something blocked in China.
Yeah, that happens. I'm just saying, if you're not sure, you can ask people to check it for you. And if it's blocked or it's slow, you can always find a developer to help you, right? There are workarounds. As I said, it's nothing like a black and white, and it's not okay.
Yeah, there are some platforms that will never work in China though. So for example, if you're using a website builder like Wix, WordPress.com, not .org, but WordPress.com. And what's the other one people use? Like Strikingly, I think got blocked relatively recently. So a lot of those like free or cheap website building platforms are often blocked in China. A lot of those are blocked. But if you've got a self-hosted website, so it's one that you own the domain for, you paid for a separate specialist hosting for, mostly they're available in China unless you've become so big and famous that the Chinese government specifically decided to block you. So yeah, like for me, my website is a self-hosted WordPress site. And it works fine in China.
Yeah,
so yeah,
my company pages are accessible in China. Our clients as well. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
These are most of the questions I've seen.
Yeah, maybe last one from Jeanette is about the policy. So we don't want to get into this that much. And there are new restrictions. There are always like updates on different policies in China. And I heard about this new restriction about kids having not online English lessons only, is online after school tutoring. So the government trying to implement things, but but as I said, there are workarounds, and the demand is there. Okay, so the demand is not gonna just be gone because the government issued a policy or regulations. As long as we can follow the policy, we can work on it, and there are always opportunities. Okay. So that's what we want to tell you, and we won't be able to talk this too much. But I believe Katie and us gonna have more workshops, webinars to help you guys. And with this, definitely follow us if you're interested in the China market. If you have challenges, if there's no challenges, we don't even need to have this webinar today, right? So there are challenges and there are solutions because many teachers are getting students from China right now and getting paid. and their website is accessible, and their account is live. They can post, they can do live sessions, right? Yeah. So I guess okay. One last question: 21 challenge. After 35% discount, it will be $127. Okay. So if you want to get a discount and also the free 小红书starter course, you need to register through this website. Okay, and you will get other course and the discounts through the website. Yeah. So I think that's all from me, Kitty. Any last words you want to share with us before we finish up?
I think that's pretty much everything for me as well. We covered a lot in today's webinar. I know there's a lot of questions we didn't have a chance to answer, so I apologize if we didn't get to your question, but please reach out to us, follow us on social media. We've got a lot of posts and videos and stuff answering a lot of those questions, and keep an eye on your emails for future collaboration things. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the challenge starting on the 1st of January.
Absolutely. And also follow me, follow Katie. We are talking about getting students from China in 2023. We're not going to just have this one webinar and leave it to you guys to do it, to figure it out yourself. We're going to have more webinars, workshops, and even courses available to help you guys get into the China market, get results. And we know there are this happening right now. We just have to show you the way, how to do it, and how to get access to the market and get students get paid. We're gonna help you solve all this problem. Definitely follow us, and thank you again, guys, for watching this this webinar and joining us. And thanks again to Kitty for staying so late. Kitty is in Japan right now; it's midnight already. And thank you again for spending time with us, Kitty. And appreciate all the comments and the support here. I will definitely see you guys more in 2023. Stay with us, and we'll help you guys get the result you want from the China market. Thank you guys again.
Great. Thank you.
Bye everyone. Bye. Take care. Have a good one. Have a happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks.